He's good.
Okay. Good evening and welcome to the July 10th meeting of the Historic Architectural Review Board for the City of Scranton. I'll call the meeting to order and I'll start with the roll call.
Catherine Carney, historian.
I'm Michael Muller, the chair.
Katie Gilmartin, member at large.
John Finnerty, solicitor.
Thank you all. First agenda item is a review of last month's minutes, which are not present.
We did receive.
Correct. Is everyone okay approving the minutes?
I was not here, so I'm not going to vote.
Okay. Katie, if you'll make a motion.
I make a motion to approve the June 2025 minutes.
Okay, I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Minutes are approved. We only have two applications tonight. The first is for the address 624 Biden Street, and this is for a signage application. There's a new retailer moving in. Their store is named Luxury and Leather, and we have some graphics for the sign as well as some rendering showing its placement on the facade. It seems to be a sign that's 3 foot by 5 foot. My understanding is this is like surface mounted with these Tapcon screws into the stucco. 6 mil thick, black, with gold letters. Did you guys have any comments? Yeah, obviously the applicant isn't here, so we can't ask questions. I have some concerns about it being surface mounted. I would hope to conceal that if possible, but you want to motion on it or table, or what would you like to do?
Make a motion with that recommendation?
Okay.
Is that, okay? Okay. I make a motion to approve the signage as presented with the caveat that the surface mounting be concealed.
Fair. All right. Is there a second?
I will second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Very good. This might be the record shortest meeting, maybe. I don't know, Don, unless you got a lot to say. Next up is the application for 304 Penn Avenue, formerly known or currently known as the GAR building. And we have quite a bit of information here. I believe there's a full drawing set that shows plans and elevations for the proposed improvements on the first floor, which extend from former Harry's Bar all the way down along Linden Street to the other side of the main entrance there. And also we've been provided some details on the window system. So I don't know, Don, if you have a quick presentation or discussion. Yeah, we have everything up here.
Okay. So Rob Friedman and I entered into a long-term lease agreement for the space. He's going to be the operator along with the recently acquired 16th Ward next door. So his architect is working with him, who's done all of his restaurants that he has. And I think he did the Mohegan Sun Casino, a couple of bigger things he's been involved with. So he created these renderings, these drawings with all the detail. He felt more information is better for the purpose of tonight, so he included everything. Which is pretty neat because he actually hand drew these drawings. Pretty cool. So everything's on there. The one comment that I have, my commitment to him or responsibility for getting him in there is I always said I was going to replace the storefronts to make them look like they should, bring it before the board and do that work as part of his fit out on my end. I submitted the information his architect gave me, which was like an aluminum commercial grade storefront. I talked to Dimitri, who has 16th Ward next door. I talked to Art Russo just to see what they used. And what they use is actually an Anderson window product for like a new construction application with the, like a window flange. So they're gonna frame it out of wood and then just wrap it with a composite AZAC material so it, lasts forever. I like that product better. I think it's a better fit, and I think it'll be more consistent. So the look is exactly the same that's in here. The only thing I'd like to change from what was the architect's, and I ran it by them, and they're okay with that. But I just think just to make it consistent, I literally want to make it look exactly like 16th Ward next door, and that's what he used when he framed it out. So it would be the same look, same product. And the colors, I asked him, this color that's on here, I wasn't sure, they didn't spec it out, but I asked him, was that bluish gray color on there, because that's currently what it is. And just to verify that, because I think that's important for tonight to, you know, the colors, obviously. And they actually did want to keep that look. So the color in the picture is actually accurate. I don't know the exact name, but it's like a blue-gray, I guess you'd call it that, similar to what's currently there.
I see that on the far right side, the door is getting relocated, I think. At least in elevation, it suggests that. But the plan doesn't correspond with that. So I guess I'm just curious if the
Which
plan...
page are you looking at?
If I look at the existing elevation, EX 2.0, the two smaller original storefronts to the right, the door was kind of right favored. And in the proposed elevation, the door gets centered. And my question is that door recessed? I don't know if you know the answer to that. It looks like it is, but I can't tell.
Right, so what's the page is, what's the bottom right corner of the page say?
Sure, A 2.0.
Oh, the first page. It's A 2.0A. Okay, the third page, I'm sorry. Proposed elevation. So I believe the existing door is recessed, and I think the plan is to not have it recessed.
I see. Got it. And I think for the windows, that was going to be my question, was what is the aluminum, the plan for the aluminum framing? If the rendering suggesting kind of this blue tone, which is kind of nice, how would you achieve that in the curtain wall or the storefront? But if it's switching to like an Anderson product, I know that comes in either a paintable finish so you can really dial in the color you're looking for, or if it's an aluminum clad window, there are limitations on what color that comes in. But it's still better than, I think, like a storefront, which I think the
Yeah, I mean, if it was like an aluminum, I think it would either be black or silver, and I think that would not look right, you know, so I'm not sure if what they used next door was a paint, probably, because look at the colors that they have on the block. I don't think that's a standard color, so I would imagine it would just be a Anderson paintable, new construction window, and then we would paint the AZAC composite trim material, and the window all the same color to match, and to match the beam above, and then the raised panel look on the bottom of the glass.
Will the smaller spaces to the right have transparent glass? I think you and I had sort of discussed that being the kitchen side.
Correct, that is gonna be the kitchen, but it is gonna be the same for the whole front of the whole building's gonna be the same look. Because although the kitchen's gonna be in there, his concept for the restaurant is like an open kitchen concept. So when you're from the street, you're looking in, you're gonna see the kitchen, but there's also gonna be a dining room table in the front. So you'll be able to, it's gonna not just be a kitchen, it's gonna be kitchen and dining in one. So it's gonna, he thinks it's like a unique experience where you're kind of having a group setting in the actual dining room, I mean, the actual kitchen.
Got it. Well, I think it's a handsome look. I think obviously what's there is not original, so I think trying to bring the storefront design back to something a little more historic. I don't take exception to the layout. I don't know if you guys have.
No, not at all. I think it looks beautiful. My only question is about signage, because I see in one of the elevations, there
Well,
appears to be a sign at the corner.
Yes, Kevin's.
So is that something that's coming back for our
You know,
consideration later?
I know he wants to have signage on that corner. There is a picture of it on the rendering. I have no further detail or information from him and his architect other than what's on here. But if that's something you'd like us to come back when he finalizes the size of the sign, the colors and all that, I think that's a fair request, because
Yep.
all I can see is whatever 11, he just says new signage, yeah, final details to follow per image, graphic, marketing development. So if you want to make a note that we'll come back to finalize the approval for the sign when he gets that finalized. That's totally acceptable.
There's some like pipe rail, guardrail condition around the patio area. Is that staying or?
So from what I gather, that, because it looks weird, if you look at it on the Penn Avenue side, it's there, but it's missing like a bottom section. And then when you look at the Linden side of the building, you can see where that was, I think, covering where the pit is to go downstairs. So there will be some protection if he's going to use that exact one. I don't know. What are your thoughts or recommendations?
More just curious, I think like for LCB, they require some barrier. So if he's going to have outside seating, he needs some edge. That's obviously there. It just doesn't show up in the drawing. So I was just curious if it is intended to stay or go.
Yeah, I never talked to him about that. And I know they were talking about maybe having outdoor seating on the other side, on the Linden side, but I don't know. Well, he definitely can't have it where the
hole
you know, the
is,
basement
yeah.
area, that hole, because there's nothing there. So like maybe to the right in front of the other storefront, but then it's,
Far.
yeah. So I don't know. He actually never brought that up. I mean, so right now it's there, but I would think if he was going to go and get the permit from the city or permission to put outdoor seating in front of the kitchen area with that dining room area, he probably, I would suggest he change it to make them match,
Yeah.
you know, so, but like I said, he hasn't mentioned that, so. It's old, it's been there for a while, but it's not like the prettiest looking pipe.
If the windows switch from aluminum to like an Anderson-like product, what happens to the new entry doors? Would they stay aluminum or would they be more of like a light commercial residential?
The entry doors to the commercial space or to the
There's a
building?
pair of double doors on the Linden facade that on this drawing suggests they're getting replaced. And then also the corner entrance, I think for sure is getting replaced.
Oh, yeah, so, but number, on page A20A, the first page, number 13 is noted, existing building public entrance. Those doors were going to stay.
Okay.
But every other door was going to be replaced to be all the same material, same door. So the right side of the public entrance where the kitchen, dining room area is going to be, the door on the corner, that's currently there on the corner of the building on Penn and Linden, and then the one on the Penn Avenue side. So those three doors will all be the same, like a raised panel. The exact same doors that are, I don't think they're gonna be the ones that's at 16th Ward, but across the street, where the Giving Tree is, it's, just seemed like a nicer look. It's got the raised panel, which the other door didn't, and I just wanted to match like the bottom of the window detail.
And I assume the lights are all electric lights, not like a gas lantern. The ones kind of look like they're
The
period.
It's going to be electric, it's not going to be
Yeah.
gas, but he wanted to have it look like an older lantern that looks like it's 100 years old, and kind of have that look, but it will not be gas, it'll be electric.
It looks like there's a mix of like decorative lantern style, but then you're also adding uplights on the pilasters, up-down lights.
Yeah, so the latest I spoke to him and his electrician is there were going to be uplights on the building, and I think he was just going to do, up and down lights, and with my recommendation, I think it would look kind of funny. I said, why don't you just have an uplight and then have like a nice lantern-looking light below that to illuminate the sidewalk area, but not have a spotlight shining down. So it's going to be a combination of both on every other, or I think every pilaster.
Thank you for that, clarifying.
So I think it looks great, and thank you for answering all of our questions. And I am happy to make a motion to accept with the, even though the sign is pictured, knowing that they will have to come back for that sign to be approved.
And also if you're making a motion, the aluminum as shown
Yes, I'm
is
so
not-
sorry. And the aluminum that you spoke about being what you use, not the aluminum not being used, and the Anderson that you spoke about being what you use.
Yeah, so a new construction
Yes.
window that will be trimmed out to be consistent with the block.
Yes.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Project's approved.
Great.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
and
It's
Good
going
luck.
to be an exciting one for that corner.
We'll see you at the bar.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for our applications. And there's no other business unless anybody has anything to share. Okay, our next scheduled meeting is August 14th here in council chambers. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.